You were never the problem. The system was.
Hey squirrels, welcome to ADHD, where ADHD isn't some clinical diagnosis, it's just life. I'm AV, your always honest tour guide through this beautiful mess. Over here, we're not about fixing yourself. We're about figuring out how to actually enjoy your life as you are. So grab a snack and let's go. Hey squirrels! Before we dive in, I want you to do something small with me, please. I never ask you for anything, okay? Just do something tiny. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and take one slow breath. Ready? In for 3. Good. Now, I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, just to yourself. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to tell anyone. How many times have you told yourself you would finally start taking better care of yourself and then didn't? Yeah. How many times have you bought the planner, downloaded the app, paid for the app, forgotten to cancel the app? That's a different episode. Set the alarm only to abandon it within the day, week, month. And how many times did you decide that you were the problem? Yeah, me too. Okay. But here's the truth that we are unpacking today. You were never the problem. The system was. Now, tough love trigger warning. When I say that you are not the problem, what I mean is that your challenges are not problems. They are information with which to build systems that will accommodate your challenges. That does not mean I have no problems, I have no challenges, I'm just going to be the way that I am and I'm going to exist and everyone is just going to deal with it and accommodate for me. No, they're not. That's not going to happen. We are learning how to build systems for ourselves and also demand that people help us implement them or demand that we are in places, that we put ourselves in situations where we can implement the systems that work for us, okay? But when I say that you are not a problem, that's not to say you don't have challenges and those challenges don't need to be addressed or accommodated. It's just that they aren't problems. Cool? You understand? This is not carte blanche to do whatever you want. It's just a bit of permission to stop feeling unnecessary shame. So let us talk about why motivation-based self-care fails, because we, my friends, have been lied to. And something like this. If you wanted it badly enough, you would do it. If it was that important, you'd remember. You want to drink more water? Just be motivated. Okay? You want to exercise regularly? Have you tried discipline? You want to take your vitamins, you want to go to bed on time, you want to eat actual meals, just try harder. Set more alarms, find more apps, set more things. Just try harder. And if you wanted it enough, you would get it. And when we inevitably fall off, because we're human, because life is chaotic, because our brains don't work like motivational posters, because it's not 100% input, 100% output all the time, when we inevitably fall off, we internalize it as failure. I'm lazy. I have no willpower. I can't even do the basics. I can't even do things that are so easy. Everyone else can do this and I can't do this. And I'm talking about stuff like brushing your teeth. Okay? The real ones know. When you can't brush your teeth, it's not like, wow, if I really wanted this, I would just try harder. I promise you, you want to brush your teeth. I promise you, you don't want your mouth feeling all fuzzy and yuck. It's a challenge. Here's what the wellness industry does not want you to know. Motivation is not a strategy. It's a feeling. I really want to brush my teeth now. That's not a strategy. That's a feeling. And if you don't want to brush your teeth right now, what? You're just not going to brush your teeth? Feelings, they come and go. They're influenced by stressors, by sleep, by stress, by hormones, by weather, by what you ate, by what someone said to you, by whether Mercury is in retrograde. Literally, who knows? And you cannot build a sustainable life on something that fluctuates like the stock market. Think about it this way. Would you run a business where employees only showed up when they felt like it? Would you build a house on a foundation that shifted in the wind? No, that would be chaos. And yet, that's exactly how we've been taught to approach self-care. Do it when you're motivated. Build the habit until it's automatic. If you do anything for 2 weeks straight, it will become a habit. What if the habit never becomes automatic? What if your brain doesn't do automatic? What if you are neurodivergent or exhausted or stretched so thin that there's nothing left for building habits? Are you supposed to just feel like a failure all the time? No, you need something else. You need systems. Systems are any combination of external things that make your process easier. And it can look like literally anything. Okay? So let me tell you what changed everything for me. And this is going to sound so stupid. Ready? I stopped trying to remember to take care of myself. I stopped relying on future me to be more motivated, more disciplined, more together than present me. Because that's not going to happen. Instead, I started asking a different question. How can I make this easier to do than to skip? And the answer every time, regardless of the task, every single time, was some combination of 3 things: reminders, automation, support. Reminders, automation, support. So let's break these down. Reminders are not about nagging yourself. They are about offloading the mental burden of remembering. I don't want to remember this now. I need to remember it at a certain point. So when your phone buzzes and says, take your meds, you don't have to hold that in your brain anymore. You don't have to feel the low-grade anxiety of, am I forgetting something? There must be something. There must be something. There must be something. The reminder holds it for you. Some of us need to set multiple reminders. I like setting things as tasks so they don't disappear unless I check them off, right? The reminder holds it for you. And here's the magic. When you're not spending energy remembering, you have more energy for doing the thing. I take reminders a step further. I'll put them everywhere. They are all over the place. I input reminders into my systems at every level. So for example, if I'm doing the laundry, I will not close the laundry door if there is a load in the washer or the dryer. And depending on what side the load is on, that's the side of the door that's going to be open. Also make sure to leave the light on in the little laundry corner, because I'm reminding myself with visual cues that there's something in the wash. The light draws my attention, and the side that the door is open on will tell me if it's in the washer or in the dryer. That is a reminder. When I'm actually putting the clothing in the dryer or in the wash, I am setting a reminder for myself for future me, for later, not in my brain, but with some sort of visual cue. Whenever I see it, I'll switch the clothes over. So I don't have to spend energy remembering there's clothing in the dryer, there's clothing in the wash, because I don't want to run another stinky, moldy, smelly load of clothes. I leave the door open. Automation takes it a step further. What if you didn't have to decide what's for dinner every night? What if there was a rotating meal plan that just existed? Does your family all of a sudden come up with brand new meals that they like? Not really. Families tend to eat the same types of things. You have 40 meals that are in rotation in your house. So let's put it into a rotating meal plan. What if your bills paid themselves? Auto pay? Hell yeah. What if your groceries showed up without you having to remember to order them? Automation isn't lazy, it's brilliant. It's saying that this decision doesn't need my precious cognitive resources. Let me put this particular thing on autopilot so I can save my brain for things that actually matter. There's certain things that are set up like that as consumer traps. And then there's some things that we can really choose to automate for ourselves. And honestly, the ADHD piece is really deciding what to automate and what not to automate so that you're setting yourself up for success long term. Okay. And then there's support. Support for me really makes the automations and reminders work. But this is the one that we resist the most because we have been taught that needing help is weakness. But support isn't weakness, support is wisdom. It's asking your partner to remind you about the appointment if it's not difficult for them. I set reminders in my own calendar, and for important things, I set reminders in someone else's calendar so they can remind me about it. It's hiring somebody to help you with the things that drain you. It's joining a community where people get it. It's swapping tasks. It's letting someone else hold part of the load. When you have reminders, automation, and support in place, something remarkable happens. Your anxiety goes down because you're no longer living in a constant state of, what am I forgetting? What's falling through the cracks? What's about to blow up? What's on fire? You have systems catching things. You have structures that are holding you. It's not going to be perfect all the time, but your nervous system can finally exhale that breath that you're holding all the time, and you have to remember so much stuff. I want to go a little bit deeper here because this is important. We talk a lot about nervous system regulation. We talk about breath work, about meditation, grounding exercises, and those things are wonderful. But do you know what else regulates your nervous system? A feeling of control. Knowing where things are, knowing what's happening next, knowing that the important stuff is handled. This is what I call external memory, and it's a game changer. Last episode, we talked about computer memory and computer bandwidth. If you don't have enough RAM or ROM on your computer, you take your stuff on your computer and you put it on an external, like hard drive. You externalize the memory so that the computer can keep working as fast as it was. External memory for a human being is anything outside your brain that holds information for you. A calendar that shows you your week at a glance, a whiteboard with the family schedule, a note on the counter reminding you to defrost the chicken, an app that tracks when you last took your medication, a list of emergency contacts on the fridge, leaving the laundry door room open. These are not just organizational tools, they are nervous system tools. Because every time your brain has to hold on to something, every appointment, every task, every don't forget, it creates a tiny thread of tension. And when you have dozens of those threads, hundreds of those threads, that's not just mental clutter, it's psychological stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between, I might forget to pick up the dry cleaning, and there's a tiger. It literally doesn't know the difference between those things. It just knows something needs my attention, stay alert. External memory cuts those threads. It says to your brain, you don't have to hold this. It's written down. It's in the system. You can let go. And when your brain lets go, your shoulders drop, your breathing slows, your nervous system shifts from survive to equilibrium, which allows you to thrive. That is regulation. So now let's get practical because I don't want this to stay theoretical, okay? I want to name it explicitly and point out the areas of life where systems can become acts of care, okay? So let's talk about your life. Meals. We literally have to eat every day. What kind of bogus, rigging, ridiculous makeup is that? We have to then decide what to eat 3 times a day, or 2 or 5 or however many times a day you eat, every single day. And it is exhausting, especially if you're feeding other people too, especially if you have dietary concerns or picky eaters. In my house, we have a person who doesn't eat any dairy. We have a person who doesn't eat any sugar. We have a person who doesn't eat any gluten. We have a person who doesn't eat literally anything. She's a super picky eater. And then we have one who just changes her mind every single day. Come on. I'm supposed to feed everybody every day and make sure that they actually get balanced meals. Ugh. A meal system isn't about perfection. It's about reducing decisions. Okay? It doesn't have to be an exact meal plan, right? Because if you're an ADHD person or any kind of neurodivergent person or a person who has strong preferences, telling me that I have to have spaghetti and meatballs tonight if I'm not feeling it is not freaking happening. Although I always want spaghetti and meatballs. Sounds good right now. Okay, back on track. Maybe you do Taco Tuesday, Pasta Thursday, leftovers on Friday, right? So you don't have every meal planned, but you have like anchors that are going to reduce your decisions in the week. Maybe you have like a rotating list of 10 dinners or 20 dinners. Maybe you have a meal kit subscription that removes the planning entirely. Maybe that works for you. The goal isn't about gourmet cooking. It's not about being the best. The goal is I don't have to think about this from scratch every single day. And that is taking care of yourself. Could be meal prepping. Could be a million and one things. Making some sort of decision for yourself now to reduce load for yourself later. Meds, supplements. Yeah. If you take medication or if you are supposed to take medication, then you know how hard it is to be consistent. A system for that might look like a pill organizer you fill once a week, an alarm on your phone, keeping your meds next to something you already do, like your coffee, your toothbrush, your bedside table, whatever. It might be all of the above. For me, I have pill bottles all around the house next to all kinds of things that I do, right above my computer. So if I'm looking at my computer, I can see the pills in my peripheral vision right here. Next to my coffee, I'm giving myself multiple opportunities to see the pills and be like, hey, pills. I also have a reminder on my phone that is set as a task. So I have to dismiss it in order for it to disappear. Otherwise, it stays on my phone all day. And I also have human beings who remind me to do that. And beyond that, I take a medication that has a longer half-life. So if I'm a little bit loosey-goosey with taking my medication, it's not going to affect me as strongly. I had the ability to do all of those things based on my particular circumstances. You might be able to do some of those or all of those or none of those or something else, but there's a system that can work for you where you're not relying on memory, you're relying on structure. And that is taking care of yourself. Schedules and routines, okay? Knowing what is happening today, this week, this month, this quarter, it reduces the chaos in your brain. So a system here might look like a shared family calendar that everyone can see. I have the skylight calendar for my family. A Sunday reset where you can review the week ahead with yourself, with your spouse, with your kids. A visual schedule for the kids or for yourself. Routines might look like a specific playlist of music that accompanies specific activities. When the schedule is visible or has some sort of sensory to it, it's not rattling around in your head. That's taking care of yourself. Do you see the pattern here? Systems aren't cold or robotic. Okay, when people are selling you systems most of the time, they're not trying to solve your problem. They're trying to freaking sell you something. They are trying to sell you this system, this solution. But a system is just scaffolding that lets you actually live in your life. They're the difference between like white knuckling it through every day and moving through life with a little bit more ease. And you deserve ease. I want to introduce a service here and I want you to sit with it. It is called Not Your Wife. Wait, stop. Before you raise an eyebrow, let me explain. And let me tell you that Not Your Wife is not an escort service, which is the feedback that I get most consistently. Y'all listen, okay? Do not run away from me here because it's about to get uncomfortable. For generations, there has been an invisible role in households. The person who just knows when you're out of something, who just remembers everyone's appointments, who just handles the mental load of keeping life running. They just do the things and make sure everything runs smoothly. Historically, that role has fallen on women, often wives and mothers, and it's been unpaid, unacknowledged, and utterly exhausting. And not only that, oftentimes like thrown in our face, but we don't have to talk about that. Here is the thing, that labor is real. And when I say real, I mean stuff that can be outsourced to somebody else that you would normally have to pay for. I mean, it takes up time. I mean, it takes effort. I mean, it takes energy. I mean, it deserves support. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. I got a little worked up. The Not Your Wife philosophy says, what if no one had to carry all of that alone? What if there were systems and even services designed to hold that invisible labor? It is the idea that you shouldn't have to be superhuman to keep your household running. It's the idea that remembering everything isn't a personality trait And it's not some sort of like mark of a martyr. It's a burden that can be shared and distributed and systematized. It's the idea that care can be structural and not just personal. It's not just on me. So whether you are the one who's been carrying the mental load, or whether you realize that someone in your life has been carrying it for you, because if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's somebody in your life that's carrying it for you, okay? This is an invitation to think differently. What if the goal wasn't to be the person who holds it all? What if the goal was to build systems or to use systems that hold it for everyone? Okay? Let's go. Let's land the plane. Here is what I want you to take away from today. I mean, you can take away whatever you want, okay? But if you are taking away one thing, here it is. Ready? You are not bad at self-care. You are not bad at making sure that you are okay in this world and you can make good decisions for yourself. However, you've been using the wrong tools. Motivation fades, willpower runs out, but systems show up every single day, whether you feel like it or not, which increases your likelihood of actually doing the thing. And building those systems isn't a sign of weakness. It is literally the most loving thing that you can do for yourself. I'm hesitating whether to share this because in one of my first feedback sessions, I sourced feedback from the world about Not Your Wife. And one of the things that I was told that really, really stuck with me, a woman said to me, I would be so upset. Why would you be upset? If my husband bought this for me. There's two assumptions there. One, the first assumption is that this is your job and that he's buying you something to help you. The second assumption is that if you need someone to help you, you're doing your job badly. So not only am I telling you that you're not doing your job badly, I'm telling you that this isn't even your freaking job. It has fallen to you. You might be really good at it even, but there's support that exists out there and you deserve support. So, two things for you before you go. First, if you want a super simple place to start, grab the self-reset sheets. Self are systems empowering life freedom. They are free, they are beautiful, and they will help you get what's swirling in your head out and onto paper. The link is in the show notes. Grab it. My gift to you. Happy holidays. Second, if you are ready to go deeper, and if you want real systems that actually hold your life together, get the link in the description to know more about Not Your Wife. Okay? That is where structure happens. That's where the invisible becomes visible. That's where you stop surviving and start running smoothly. Check it out. See if it resonates. If it doesn't, that's okay. Leave it. If it does, fantastic. Welcome. And in the meantime, squirrels, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for being brave enough to question old narratives. Thank you for being open to a different way, to a different world, to a different life. Remember, self-care that relies on motivation will always let you down. But self-care built on systems is more sustainable. And it's freedom. And that freedom is revolutionary. Squirrels, take care of yourselves. Let your systems help. Get you some support. If you don't know how, hey, I'm always here for a chat. Drink some water. Wash your face. Set up a system. See y'all next time. Bye.